Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Film Fanatic. This one's a little different than usual. I actually I don't know exactly what I want to say. I'm just kind of going into this blindly. But this one isn't necessarily on any movie in particular. It's actually on a director. Well, he's a lot of things: director, writer, actor. He's a ton of different things. But I'll just get right into it. So the other day, I was actually pointed in the direction of one of this guy's short films. His name is MP Cunningham. I was pointed in the direction of one of his short films by a good friend of mine, Christian, who told me to check it out. He thought I would like it, and like it, I did. It's called I'm just gonna say it. It's called Ford Clitaurus, which I was drawn in just by the name. It's an odd short film. It truly is odd. But it's definitely worth checking out. It's actually on YouTube. You can find it on YouTube and watch the entire thing. It's about 20 minutes long. I thought it was interesting because it's essentially a jumble of all these different ideas. At least that's what I got out of it. It's very abstract, I guess, surreal maybe even you would call it. To me, there wasn't any obvious meaning to it, which I thought was quite interesting. It's odd for sure, but it's hilariously funny if you're into that kind of humor. If you're not, you probably won't enjoy it. But just it's so well acted and well written. I was actually really surprised how much I ended up enjoying it. I watched through it twice, once by myself and once with my roommate, and we both thought it was pretty darn funny. I think we got into it, and we were laughing pretty hard. I don't really know exactly what else to say about it, just that ever since I stopped watching it, I haven't really been able to stop thinking about it and going, wow. It really made me question my definition of art, which is a journey I've been on, I guess this past so far this school year. I've been on this journey of what is art truly? Is there really one singular definition of art? I don't think so. I think there's different things that are art to different people. I think something that's art to me might not be art to somebody else, and I think that's okay. I think that's part of what our world is. I mean, in art, I think essentially the world kind of runs on art, even if we don't realize it. I spoke with a person that works at Baldwin Wallace the other day, which is the school I go to, and he was telling me how, if you really truly think about it, everything you see is in some way designed by an artist. Almost everything you see, I suppose. So art is so important, and so I think it is important to come up with your own definition of art. I don't think everyone has the same definition of art, but to come up with your own, I think, is really important. And to me, art is something. To me, art is anything that makes you feel something. Whether you're watching it, if it's a film, or looking at it, if it's a painting, I think art is really important. And this little short film that I watched, I had no idea how much it would impact me in just going, wow, it was so jumbled and odd, but it really inspired me. And I went, it's art. It's still art. Not to mention the cinematography is beautiful, and the writing is really good for all the different scenes, and I really enjoyed it. I ended up watching another one of his short films called Agua Donkeys, which was just hilarious. I really thought it was funny. It's totally my type of humor, which is kind of weird anyway, so I guess, maybe it wouldn't be funny to everyone, but it was just, again, this one was a lot more, had a more Agua Donkeys had a much more coherent storyline. It was much easier to follow. It still had some more absurd jokes, I guess, jokes that didn't really make a lot of, they didn't make a ton of sense, but they were still funny. And I'm not criticizing the jokes. I thought they were funny. I love that kind of humor where it doesn't really fit into what's going on, but it's just there. I love that kind of stuff. If it's done properly, if it's not done well, I think that some films suffer from that kind of thing not being done well. But yeah, this one's definitely worth checking out as well. I recommend watching Ford Clitaurus first, to gauge whether or not you'd even enjoy the humor. I think once you watch Ford Clitaurus, you'll go, if you get it, you get it. If you don't get it, you probably don't get it. It's not really your thing. But watching Agua Donkeys after Ford Clitaurus really proved to me this guy is a good director. And a good writer and a good actor. He acts in both things, and he's fucking hilarious. I guess part of the reason that I'm making this little Film Fanatic, and kind of a different kind of Film Fanatic, is because, this guy, MP Cunningham, is definitely somebody to look out for. I think that he's going to be a big name at some point. I hope that he's a big name at some point. As a fellow filmmaker, I feel that it's my duty to share with everyone. This guy's fucking great. This guy's great, and I really like his stuff. And I guess essentially that's all I really have to say in this Film Fanatic. I think, it's important to recognize different kinds of art, and art that really makes you, open up your mind and go, that was pretty cool. That was a cool, unique take on something that could have been really weird, just plain weird and kind of dumb. But MP Cunningham, he pulls it off. He pulls it off. I've been watching his stuff since last night, just nonstop. This guy's got talent. This guy's got it. And I wouldn't be surprised if he's got a feature film coming out one of these days soon, because this guy has a unique view, and I can't wait to see what else he has in store. I think he's a super cool dude, and I hope that he is. I wish him success in all that he does. So yeah, I guess if I had to rate the two short films I watched, I'd give Ford Clitaurus probably a 9 out of 10. Actually, I thought for what it was actually really well done. The only reason I'm not giving it a 10 out of 10 is just I wish that it had a little bit more of a coherent story, because I really, really loved the characters. Like, I genuinely would have loved to see a little bit more dialogue, and if there was something specific going on. And it's completely possible that I just missed something. I'm sure that if I watched it a million more times, I'd get something out, some story out of it. I'm sure there's something that I just missed, but that's the only reason I'm giving it a 9 out of 10. Otherwise, I'd give it a 10 out of 10. I was very impressed. As for Agua Donkeys, I would actually give that a 10 out of 10. I thought it was genuinely funny. It was kind of slow-paced with this very dry humor that if you weren't paying attention, you'd miss it. And I think that it takes a very skilled director to pull off what MP Cunningham pulled off in Agua Donkeys. I was quite impressed. So Agua Donkeys, for me, gets a 10 out of 10. Definitely check it out if you can. It's not on YouTube, but it's on Vimeo. It's free to watch. You can check it out if you have 20 minutes of free time. You should definitely give it a look, because it's worth watching if you're into film and you're looking for some inspiration. Agua Donkeys definitely inspired me. I've been trying to do some writing ever since I watched it, because it just made me go, yeah, that's a fine piece of film. That's a fine piece of cinema. So yeah. I guess that's all I got for this episode of Film Fanatic. I know it's a little bit different than usual. It's not like a known film necessarily. I'm talking about two short films and a relatively unknown director. But like I said, it got me, his work got me thinking about art. And anytime that I can talk about art, I guess is fun for me. So that's all I really have to say. Thank you for tuning in to this episode of Film Fanatic. I hope you enjoyed. I've got some good episodes coming up, hopefully. Some good movies coming out. So I will see you all in the next episode of Film Fanatic. Be good to each other. Peace.